sun, another god for the moon, goddess for the sky, and so on. And every god had his own emblem, like Horus, the falcon, Hathor, the cow. But I'm sure that you'd never get confused with the emblem of this god. But anyhow, the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians have known about Viagra much earlier than the Americans. I think you can tell. And one more thing, Zou-Zou. I think you can see that he is one arm God, one-legged God. Could you guess why? A very big present for the answer. But no one's going to get the answer. Okay. In the mythology of ancient Egypt, this country has been attacked by foreigners. And then the Egyptians had to defend their homeland. They had to secure the borders of Egypt, the boundaries of Egypt. And then they left home to secure their homeland, and they left their wives, their women, behind in the care of God men. But this God did a very good job. How? All the Egyptians returned home and they found their wives getting pregnant. And then the Egyptians were so upset, so unhappy with that, and they decided to punish such a divine character. How? It was a divine summit, divine council of the other gods and goddesses of Egypt who have decided to cut one arm of it. Okay, no problem. Egypt has been attacked again. And that God never learned the lesson. He made it once again. And then the Egyptians were upset. And this time they decided to cut one leg of his. But I see a question in your eyes now. Why they didn't cut this off, you know? And solve the problem, everybody. Seriously, you should know that he was a god of fertility, and that was the emblem of the god of fertility. That was the source of fertility. If it has been cut off, all the Egyptians would lose fertility, and that's why they always depicted their god of fertility. God men, like one-legged and one-armed god. Anyhow, it is God men, the god of fertility. And Zou-Zou, please, if you come this way and you look at this wall, we can see one of the most important scenes in the temple. It is our famous Pharaoh again, Ramses the Great, being depicted in a kneeling position. He is depicted while making a lot of offerings. He is making offerings. As you see, he is praying to God Amon-Ra. Here is God Amon-Ra, Zou-Zou, the supreme god of Egypt, the most powerful god in ancient Egypt. But while visiting temples and tombs this week, how you can recognize Amon-Ra? I mean, how you can identify the figures of God Amon-Ra. He used to be depicted either in the shape of a man with the two blooms on the head, or in the shape of a ram. How? Look at this. He is depicted in the shape of a human being, in the shape of a man having the two ostrich feathers on the head, the feathers of justice, or such two blooms, or he used to be depicted in an animal form as a ram. That's why we have seen ram-headed sphinxes outside. So that was God Amon-Ra. Here is the wife of Amon-Ra, his consort, his wife, goddess Mut, M-U-T, M-U-T, goddess of nature. And here is a child of Amon-Ra, God Khonsu, or Khons, Khonsu, or Khons, the god of the moon, the lunar god. How you can recognize the lunar god? Look at the head. Straight above the head, it is a crescent, and the lunar disk. Do you see that? Even if you don't remember the name, at least when you see that figure, you know that it is the lunar god. Away from the names, not to get confused, I think you have noticed that I have been talking about three divine characters, three gods: Amon-Ra, his wife goddess Mut, and his child god Khonsu. What do you mean, Amro? I mean that the ancient Egyptians have known the idea or the philosophy of the Trinity or the Triad much earlier than Christianity. In Christianity, it is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In ancient Egypt, it was different a little bit. It was God, His wife, and His child. As you have seen on that wall. It is not a story I am making up, no. Read the history on the walls. God, His wife, and His child. In Christianity, it is one Trinity, only one triad. But in ancient Egypt, in pharaonic Egypt, there were 42 different trinities. Why 42? Because Egypt at that time was consisting of about 42 city-states. And each city had its own local trinity. This is just the trinity of Luxor, but there was another one for Memphis, another one for Aswan, another one for Edfu, and so on, 42 city-states in Egypt. Zou-Zou, I know that it is too much information, but just try to pick up the main points, like it is the biggest temple all over the world, where we are this morning, the temple of God Amros in Karnak, and it is about 4,000 years old, and the ancient Egyptians have known the philosophy of the Trinity much earlier than Christianity. I have just received a question about